I love playing video games, but when I say that, I mostly mean Fallout 4 and Stardew Valley, and that's starting to become really embarrassing, especially because I want to make my own games, and how can I make games if I don't even know what's out there? So, welcome back to my series, Games I Should Have Played By Now, where I play games that I really should have played by now, and today we are talking about Portal. This is the second video that I'm making in the series, and at the time of this recording, I haven't even uploaded the first one yet, so I have no idea if there's any comments on it or if people liked the format or didn't like the format. I'm trying to approach it where I'm not doing like big spoilers, because if you're like me and you haven't played these games before and something sounds really good, maybe this will be what inspires you to try it too. But if you hate that, if you love it, as always, let me know. But for this one, I'm planning to do the same thing where I'm going to explore the game by myself over the course of a week or so, and I will check in and tell you at the end what I thought overall. So, Portal. There's 2 Portal games, I believe. I have 2 on this list. Portal 1 and then Portal 2. Portal 1, it looks like, was 2007. Portal 2 was 2011. I got them both on a Steam sale in a bundle, so I don't know if I'll play both. We'll see. We'll kind of see how this goes. Portal, the original Portal, 2007 Portal, it's got a 90 score on Metascore, so that's like universal acclaim, generally favorable reviews. And then Portal 2 has 95 and slightly more reviews, it looks like. So I'm guessing that Portal 2 is kind of the more popular one, but I think it makes sense to start with the first one. I might be doing this wrong, but I mean, I don't really think there's a wrong way to play a video game. Portal is a puzzle platform game developed and published by Valve. I was wondering why Valve sounded familiar to me, because I don't think I've played a game developed by Valve before, so I looked it up, and I guess Valve developed Steam? Like they own Steam? I don't know. That's wild. That's wild to me, honestly. But it could also just be a different Valve. I'm not entirely sure. I'm just looking at Wikipedia pages right now. But Portal was developed by Valve, published by Valve. It looks like the first one, like I said, came out in 2007. It's described as a puzzle game, which is interesting to me because from, I guess, just existing and hearing about this game in pop culture, it sounded more like a narrative game. But now, based on that description of puzzle, I don't know if it's going to be like each room is a puzzle. I understand that the premise is like we're in a testing facility. I have no idea if we leave a testing facility. I am aware of a character called Gladys who I'm really excited to meet, mainly because there's a Jonathan Coulton cover, I think is what I'm thinking of. I'm Googling it. Yeah, Jonathan Coulton had a song, Still Alive. I love Jonathan Coulton, mainly because I listen to Code Monkey whenever I code. So he ended up being one of my top artists on Spotify a few years ago just because of that. But yeah, okay, so he did a song, Still Alive, which I have heard. It was featured in the closing credits of the video game Portal. So that tells us something. That tells me something. I don't know if that's too much or not enough or the wrong context to have going into this game. Transparently, I'm really excited for Portal. I feel like this is a game I'm going to like. The first game I played in this series was Unpacking, which I also kind of expected to like. So I really am starting this with things genuinely that I've been like meaning to play. We'll get to some games later that are going to be more things I'm less excited to play to sort of identify what I don't like too. But this one I'm looking forward to. So let's get into it. Is this already the one song that I mentioned knowing? Yes, it is.
Hello, and again, welcome to the Aperture Science Computer Aided Enrichment Center. We hope your brief detention in the relaxation vault has been a pleasant one. Your specimen has been processed, and we are now ready to begin the test proper.
Oh, is that me? The vibes are fantastic so far. Just the music, the science-y, the voice, it's very good. It's interesting that there's no character creation. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, this actually took me a little longer than I would like to admit to sort of get my footing and figure out what's happening.
Please note that we have added a consequence for failure.
So as you can see, I've done 8 of these. It took me a little longer than I expected to sort of get my bearings and figure out what's up. I got the gun, which is nice, the actual portal gun. This is interesting so far. Ooh. Okay, Okay, that's happening. This is really interesting so far. I can shoot things. I like understand how this works, kind of. There's less storytelling than I expected there to be. It's been more just the puzzle solving, which I don't mind. It took me a minute to like get to. It's a lovely setting. We haven't had a ton of world building. It really is much more of just a puzzle game than I thought it was. Let's solve this one together while you're here. That ball is going back and forth. I need it to come out of there instead. So I can hit where the mark is, and then it should come out the orange one and hit that. Oop. No, why did I think? I don't have the best spatial awareness. That's not right. It's fun so far. I'll come back when I have more opinions. I am half an hour into this game and something different is finally happening. We got behind this piston thing and there's writing on the wall. Something is happening. Something different is happening. I don't know what it is though. Oh, but this is cool. This is really cool. I guess now's as good a time of any to sort of check in because I have been playing the game for a half hour. It is not what I expected. This is what I would describe as a true puzzle game, to be honest. It's a level is a puzzle. You get some fun flavor text dialogue. You solve the puzzle. You move on to the next level. At least so far. It does seem like from that last scene, we're finally getting like a little, ooh, maybe something else is going on behind the scenes. This is why I typically not stay away, but hesitate about puzzle games because there's less narrative to it, and there is less narrative to this one, but it's also challenging me to sort of think about what I think a game is, because my background in gaming was I was introduced to Fallout 3 and Oblivion and Skyrim and Fallout 4. Those are all huge games, but in my mind, those are like normal games. And so the most interesting thing to me has been realizing like a game can be smaller than like a massive open world Bethesda game. A lot of games are, and it's challenging me to sort of look at, well, what do I think a video game is? Could it just be a really cool mechanic that we explore in depth? And this is a really cool mechanic. I tried to think about how I would code something about like this, and it just I got stuck immediately. Like you've got physics moving through cameras, moving through portals. It's just the idea of it is so neat. So I'm about half an hour in. Like I said, it is a little repetitive, but it's so cool, and I can see why it is, beloved and like has this cultural phenomenon the way it has. Okay, so it's been just over 3 hours, and I have technically finished the game. I only have 5 of the 15 achievements. I see there are like more things I could keep doing for completion, but like technically I have finished it. I have so many mixed thoughts, right? I have so many opinions sloshing around on here, and on one hand, it's beautiful. Like I see why it is the classic that it is. I want to cosplay as Chell. Like what a wonderful thing. I like that the game, it's sort of, it doesn't have a ton of explicit storytelling, but it expects you to get there yourself. Like there is the one room that has the slideshow going on through the window that has, context about GLaDOS and Black Mesa and like the information that you kind of need as the world building, but they don't shove it down your throat. There's not a quest for, beat GLaDOS. They kind of let you figure that out yourself. What I'm embarrassed about that I said earlier in this video was that I thought Jonathan Coulton did a cover of the ending song. I didn't realize he wrote the ending song. Like that actually just is him who did the ending song, and it's beautiful and I love it, and I can't believe I didn't know that. But hey, that's why we're doing this series, to learn the context of the things that I like. I think it feels like the developers came up with this cool mechanic and then wrote the story around that mechanic. And I think from the Wikipedia page, I think that's true. And I don't think it's a bad thing that you can tell, like it's a good mechanic. I like where they've gone with it. I think the storytelling, the writing that they did ultimately add ties it together very well. I think the final like boss fight is a wonderful collection of all the mechanics that you've sort of learned so far. I do think it works. it's so much shorter than I thought it would be. It really is just like, here's a cool mechanic, built a game around it. And I think I said this in one of the clips that I recorded while I was playing it, but I think it's really making me realize that I have a preconceived notion of like what a video game is, because I've played mostly these like massive RPGs. Like the first games I got into were Oblivion and Skyrim and Fallout, and those are hundreds of hour games. And even the way I've branched off from that with like Stardew Valley, that's a game you can put hundreds of hours into. And I've sort of mistakenly come to believe this mindset that like a game must be that massive. And it's hurt me as like a indie game developer, because I then undersell my own projects. Like I have games that I've put on itch that I'm like, well, it's just, there's not much story to it. Like it's just one thing. Like, you know, it's maybe 15 minutes of gameplay. I couldn't possibly put this on Steam. It's not worth selling. And now I'm sort of reflecting more on like, yeah, you know, it's not a couple 100 hours Bethesda RPG, but it's, if I have a good mechanic and I can tie a story around it, why can't that be a game? Like I see why Portal got the acclaim that it did and got as big as it did. Like I see it. And I'm enjoying this series a lot because it is kind of forcing me to be like, what is a good video game? And Portal's different than I expected. It really is. I am under the impression, though, that Portal 1, or just Portal, that we just played was sort of that like sort of figuring it out. And like I said at the very beginning, it is lower rated than Portal 2, but I am glad that we started with Portal 1. I think Portal 2 is like where a lot more of the game is. And that thought isn't based on anything but like a preconceived notion. So could be wrong. I think we're going to play that next. And I'm going to keep this all in the same video. I don't know how long this video is. I'm recording this over a couple of days whenever I come back and play something out of my Steam library. But I think let's dive in. Let's try Portal 2 and we'll see if any of my thoughts sort of evolve. Okay, so transparently, it's 2 months later. I forgot I was doing this, but we are just starting Portal 2 now. I really have no idea what to expect. I don't know if this like picks up where the first one left off or if we're the same character. No idea.
Reflect briefly on this classical music.
This is fun.
Good. Now please return to your bed.
It's the same vibe as the first one, but they've built on it. I like this so far.
You have been in suspension for
9.
this courtesy call.
Hello?
is to inform you that
Anyone in
all
there?
Subjects should vacate.
You look
Whose voice is
good.
this? I recognize
Looking good,
this.
actually. Just tell me. Just say yes.
This is magnificent. This is magnificent.
Okay. What you're doing there is jumping. You just jumped. But never mind. Say apple. Apple. Okay. You know what? That's close enough. Just hold tight. Remember, you're looking for a gun that makes holes, not bullet holes. But don't worry, you'll figure it out. Seriously, do hold on this time.
Hello, and again, welcome to the Aperture Science Enrichment Center.
And we're back to where we
We are
were in the
currently
first
experiencing
game.
technical difficulties.
Oh, this is good. I have a really good feeling about this. Aperture Laboratories. This is so cool. I'm going to keep doing these little puzzles for a bit. If anything else plot-wise happens, I'll check in. Otherwise, I'll be back with my thoughts in a bit. Okay, so a lot has happened plot-wise, so I'm just going to check in with my thoughts with a voiceover over some gameplay. The gameplay is delightful. It's everything that we liked about the first game, but with new puzzles, some new mechanics. It's a really satisfying expansion with a ton of world building behind it. It's satisfying, right? There is a lot more plot in this game. I keep expecting each chapter to be the last chapter, but it hasn't been yet. It just keeps going, which is delightful. It is, though, at its core, just solving puzzles. I also want to highlight some of these world building things. I'm going to get on my soapbox for a second here because we all know how much I hate generative AI. I've seen other game devs talk about how a great use case for generative AI is sort of background stuff like this. Like nobody's actually reading these posters. Like you could just, make some slop and who cares? I care. I am reading every one of these posters. I am looking at the pictures of Cave Johnson and his potato science fair day things. It's gorgeous. The thought that goes into this game in those background moments is part of what makes it so, so wonderful, even though all we're really doing is solving a puzzle again and again and again. But it's so compelling because of the story and because of the thought that's gone into all the background. And everything down here on this lower level, the graphic design shifting to this sort of older style, the voice acting, the stories behind the character, it's magnificent, even if I'm not sure that a puzzle game like this is totally for me, is totally my favorite. This is super well done. Okay, so full transparency, it has been another 2 months since I played this game. I don't know what is going on that's making it so difficult for me to follow through with this. I think part of it is that I'm filming updates as I go, so I'm always like, I should wait until I want to actually film something. I need to figure out a way around that because I want to make these updates and I still want to play these games. But I think part two is that it is still just a puzzle game. And as wonderful as I think the storytelling is, I'm less compelled to come back again and again to solve more puzzles than I am to a narrative-driven game like Stardew Valley or something where I'm farming every day and I'm building my cozy little house. Like there's no building in this. There's nothing I can like collect, right? Even though I'm navigating through the story. So possibly just that puzzle games are not as compelling for me to keep revisiting, but also I think it's that I'm filming this. So that said, though, I think this is a fantastic game. I'm having so much fun with it. I see why people love it. I'm honestly so tempted now to go out and make like an Aperture shirt so I can just wear it out in public because it's a marvelous game. I see why it has the level of acclaim that it does. It really is. It's very good. I did it. I finally finished the game. I don't know why it took me so long, but I finally got to the end of the game. And obviously there's still a ton more achievements to do. I haven't done anything in like the 2-player mode, which I think is where a lot of those come from. My total playtime on this game ended up being 7 hours. Let's get to my full thoughts. Okay. Portal 2 is a great game. I can absolutely see why it is as loved as it is. You have great characters, you have great storytelling, you have great puzzles. It's a great game. The ending was not what I expected. It was marvelous and weird in ways that I wasn't prepared for. I think the storytelling of the game is so bold, and that boldness really pays off because you get these very memorable moments. I've been thinking more and more about why it was so hard for me to come back to this game. Like when I wasn't playing it, I wasn't really thinking about it. I wasn't really feeling the itch to like get back to it. And I kept thinking about ways for me, like things for me that would have made me want to play more. So for example, like if I had an inventory system and there was things I could collect, or if I could sleep and hide out in the Ratman dens, I think that would have brought me back to it more often. But I think that thought goes hand in hand with the fact that that wouldn't necessarily make it a better game. It would just make it more palatable for me. And I think that just means that I'm not the target audience for this game. I think that just means that a purely puzzle game is not necessarily my favorite genre. And it's important to recognize that and recognize that the things I wanted out of it and it not having those things does not mean in any way that it's a bad game or that it was lacking those things. It just means that it's not a genre that's my top genre. No game can be for every single person. You have a target audience and you have people outside that target audience who hopefully can still appreciate the game for what it is. And I feel like I do appreciate the Portal games for what they are. I have already started playing the next game I'm doing for this series, Outer Worlds. And that game, because it is a genre that I happen to like a little better, I'm like thinking about during the day. I'm like eager to come back to. I think that one I've already gotten to like 6 hours in. And Portal 2, my total playtime was like 7 hours. And I still feel like I've barely scratched the surface of Outer Worlds. So just different genres. What Portal both 1 and 2 do so magnificently well is just taking this single mechanic and really diving into it, exploring all the different ways you can make that mechanic work, all the different things you can add and stories you can tell around that. And it pays off. It's marvelous. It's full. The writing is fantastic. And I think there's a lot of takeaways for me too as a dev in this, and realizing that there are things that people outside your target audience might want and that might not necessarily be good ideas. People might have feedback like, oh, I would play this game more if I had an inventory system. I don't think an inventory system would make this game better. I don't think it would be right for this game. In fact, I think it would make the game a lot worse because then you'd be straddling genres in a weird, not fully fleshed out way. So that's a lesson for me. Not all feedback needs to be implemented, and not all ideas are good ideas. The sequel, Portal 2, it builds so beautifully on everything that Portal 1 set up and just knocks it out of the park. The voice acting, like having Wheatley and that, just the animations and GLaDOS, it is so well done, and you can see the care that has gone into the parts that they've added of this voice acting, storytelling, different locations. You like the base. It's fantastic. And I'm still thinking about the characters and the writing. Like GLaDOS is just such a good character. And it really is. It's a marvelously refreshing thing to have this game. I'm not going to call it a first-person shooter, but it is a first-person game with a gun that doesn't rely on any kind of violence, really. I mean, sure, you're destroying them, but in a way that isn't just like a shoot 'em up. It is creative. It is refreshing. You have a female main character, Chell, even though she doesn't talk. And then you have a female main antagonist. And then you have a male character who's kind of bumbling. It's incredibly refreshing, and the characters are well fleshed out. It feels good. It feels interesting. I'm still thinking about these characters. I want to cosplay these characters. It's marvelous. Now, I do admit that there seems to be a lot of two-player mechanics in this. You know, you have, Peabody and Atlas, I think, as playable characters in like two-person rooms. There are a bunch more rooms and puzzles that I could keep solving with this. So I admit that I'm still missing a lot of the Portal context by not doing those games. Admittedly, I play by myself far more often than I play with anybody else. So I think for me, that's as much Portal as I'm planning to play. It's not a game I feel like I need to come back to or continue solving puzzles with. I feel like I've gotten the story out of it. I really enjoyed it. And now I might print up a Aperture Science tee. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you enjoyed this video. The spreadsheet with all the games I am planning to play at some point is linked in the description, so let me know what you think I should play. Like I said, I'm already playing Outer Wilds as sort of the next in this series, and then I'll probably pivot to something that I know I'm not going to like as much, because I learn so much from these, both as somebody who likes games and wants to be able to talk about games more, and somebody who wants to develop my own games. I feel like I have a takeaway from each of these, and I sort of learn something more about it. So because this was the second video in this series, I now have officially a playlist. So you can go back and watch the first one if you missed that, and keep an eye out for, at some point, a third one. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.